bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me.
Yeah, Duane, you've made a very powerful statement, a very important statement. One can always talk from one's experience. I don't know about the Western world well. So that's why I think that maybe it's different there and that Africa is a particular place. And so now I'm learning that the whole world is the same.
It is the same. It's all the same, yeah. Charles. It's just how you see it. You're black. I'm white. Hey, we're just we're little beings in a body. Doesn't matter. You drive a Chevy, I drive a Dodge or a Ford or whatever. It's all the same thing. It's the appearance of things. And again, I'm amazed that people still bring this up because forget the appearances of things. Yes, that does have a presence here. But, the reality, the whole of life is bigger. This is what people forget. And it's unseen. The unseen part is bigger than the seen part. So you got to rehearse this like an actor with a role. You have to rehearse this with yourself. And no, the world is all the same. It only appears differently. It's been set up to appear differently so people think it's different. And this is where they've purposely created discrimination so that you think, oh, you're the poor country and the United States is the rich country. You see, they've set this up. But it's a fallacy because the so-called wealth that is in the world is created out of nothing. What is the value of gold? There's no value according to what? Created dollars out of nothing? Again, it's all created. Look at the source of things. Instead of the created, fronts and illusions. Yes, we need these structures and whatever, but they're all temporary. They're a little house of cards. And so, we convince ourselves that this is reality. You've convinced yourself that. But as soon as you see it for what it is, you still question yourself, don't you? It's like, well, gee, is this real or not? Or, everybody else still is agreeing to it. And am I crazy because I am seeing what's going on and I don't want to agree to it, but at the same time, I want to agree to it because I want this or that. Okay, I get all that. All right, I get it. But still, it has nothing to do with the whole of life. Life is an isness. And like the sun shining, the whole planet is light. But just about nobody can see it. You see, they can't see it. So it's because they haven't decided to see it. So from that position, it's not workable. Because you've got to recognize it, you see. You got to learn to recognize it. And so as long as you hold on to this discrimination as what it is, oh, we're the poor country and they're the smart people, that's discrimination. You're holding on to discrimination and you've been taught discrimination purposely to keep you dumbed down and controlled. You see, you're actually agreeing to the control of the controllers by the very fact of, basically all these ideas that you think this world is. They've set up this whole world for you to think like that. And they're broadcasting that through HAARP and mind control microwaves and subliminals and movies and TV and the news all the time. And so you keep agreeing to it. The Africans keep thinking that, oh, we're poor, we don't have jobs, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so they stay poor because they keep agreeing with that. This is what they want you to agree to. This is what the people in control of this world, the governments and whatever, want you to, agree to. Just like the chemtrails over my house and, Ava's and everybody else's. Who's doing that? It's like some kind of mystery. It's the governments that you're, agreeing to are doing it to you. All this stuff, you keep agreeing to it. This is the agreement of the demise of the planet. People don't get it. This world is absolutely, absolute light, But who sees it? Oh, they see a little astral light here or there, so they got their little phenomena going with the Palladians and the Galactica and the Federation Galactica or whatever. These little fun, cutesy ideas and the angels and the saviors and whatever. Fine, hey, have fun, It's all in creation. It's all agreement. People are looking for, from something to something better. But there's a better picture, and that is the isness life is. Really, it just clears the way. And then with it, anything is possible. But you must decide and you must activate it. So again, yes, Charles, the world is all the same. What you're seeing is simply the appearance of things that appears to be different. And people are thinking, oh, it's better over there. No, it's your real awareness. You have everything in your real awareness. But until you take the time to recognize that, you're not going to have nothing. And so again, what was the steps that Paul brought in? For lifetimes you've heard, and you don't remember this, but subliminally, oh, you have a soul. Okay, you've heard that for lifetimes. And you must protect your soul, or you're this or that, or whatever the ideas are. It's always that you have it. It's not really you. It's just like somewhere floating out there or whatever. Whatever the idea is. Okay, they've purposely created that idea. And then as Paul came in, he says, you are soul. Okay, so that's the next step. All right, but still people don't know what that is. They really don't. And so I've more defined it, and it's working, you see? But it's a step at a time. It's huge to get people there. So reality is so indifferent to anything here, but if people don't decide it, then they don't. Yes, I already know that reality is far too real. That's why Paul could not bring out the isness. He could only hit at it in the beginning because it's way too much for people. But we're at that point where we're going over the falls. And it's like you better wake up fast because otherwise it's going to be too late and you're going to forget once again. So you better start recognizing it. That's just how it is. So you got to drill these people a little bit, just like a sergeant in the Army. He really drills the people, and Chris was there. And you should see some military movies, to get that mama's boy attitude out of you. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, or we came from a poor family, we were struggling, whatever. You think the sergeant wants to hear that? He doesn't want to hear it. It's like get in line and pick up your rifle and start crawling because we're going to shoot machine gun bullets over your head. And if you raise your head, you're dead. And some of those people do. So again, it's time to get real. It's time to get all that nonsense out. Yeah, leave it where it is. Okay? Leave that dead dog where it's lying. All right? You don't want to kick a dead dog. And that's all these things are. Everything in the past, just like old newspapers. Would you see Reba Zartar sitting on a park bench reading a newspaper from a year ago? Would you see that? Would that make sense? But if you did see him doing that, that would be a demonstration to you that you're still living in the past. So it's up to you. See, it's up to me, to decide. And I decide. And if others want to agree or support that, and if they do, I support them. This is how it works. One for all for one. That's very realistic. This is how the boys are. But if you want to play in that discrimination area, because you're creating discrimination, and these people that see things that way, that are telling their stories like that, their whiny little stories, they're agreeing to the discrimination of the world. They're adding to the demise. You see, this is what we're trying to let the corporation know. They're thinking in their minds, in their literal minds, that, hey, we're spiritual. We're helping the world and we're saving ourselves. When actually they're actually adding to the demise of the planet, and they don't see it. They don't see it at all. They've created no benefit at all. It's all deception. All these things are. Everybody's tap line. They've all brought in the reptilians. Everything's infected. But yet in their little minds, they're thinking, oh, we're spiritual and you're bad. You see? So again, these little ideas, Charles, you're adding to the discrimination. When you start to compare like that, you're discriminatory and you're adding to the demise of the planet. So unless you do something real that creates a real benefit, and yeah, it's hell and high water, and you're going to be hated for it. Okay? Hey, Jesus is a great example, isn't he? He was supposed to be the Son of God. That's what they marketed him as. You heard marketing ploy. But let's just say he is. Well, look what happened to him. That's this world, isn't it? So yeah, you have to risk your life to get real. And if you don't, you have nothing. That's a given. You've already agreed that you'll have nothing. So discrimination doesn't work. And so when people say, oh, you think you're better than me or whatever, they're using discrimination to ploy you. And it's like, oh, I'm poor and you're rich and, whatever, God must hate me and God loves you. Again, it's all baloney. Isn't it so nice to get past all the baloney? Isn't it so nice to just see the sun shining? And then you can do something fun in creation. You see? You do fun and funny things like Kelsey and Val, you see? Yeah. So we want to keep busy with something, but we keep busy with something that makes sense. So again, if these people have to walk 1,000 miles or whatever, I would say get together, something. I mean, look at, I do the best I can here. And I take the slack for it. That's fine. I expect that. I expect the confrontation and the controversial parts, etc. I expect that because I see how conditioned people are. They're really in sad cases. It's really a sad world. Everybody's very robotized, and they don't see it themselves. And so, again, they're fighting for their own position. And all they'd have to do is learn to give that up because life is bigger. We have the personal self, but there's no potential in it because you've been here for untold lifetimes and you've succeeded with nothing. There's no success here. It's only the illusion of success. Your real success is when you start to wake up and you stand in a real position. And again, the boys are there. You're so lucky. We're so lucky we know them. That should fill your heart all the time. Just to know them. Not to beg to them, but just to stand real with them. Learn to stand real and see how they see things, you see? Again, see how life sees things instead of begging life, because it doesn't work. It's an isness. You might as well beg your walls, beg the drywall. It means nothing. But people think it does, so they create all this ritualism to try and reinforce that it supposedly means something when actually, you just get more caught up in nonsense, just like what Hessam was sharing, and where Farish on the real side saw all these people in black, and they're doing all this ritualism, and the ocean is right there, but they don't see it. They're so into their ritualism, thinking that it equals something, and it equals nothing. It only equals more demise. And so everything goes along the same lines. And just like what Paul wrote in the earlier days, all emotion is the same. It appears different, but it's really all the same. Everything's the same. So we want to get on here, you see. See, I'm agreeable. I'm always agreeable to take the risk. I don't even know what I'm getting into half the time. And sometimes I wonder if they're going to come and get me. It's like, okay, whatever, I'll deal with that too. I've got to figure that out too and see that. What will I do when that situation happens? So that'll be interesting. But in the meantime, I'll do everything I can because there is nothing else. There's absolutely nothing else. And so I look at the world, and especially the corporation, they're so into Joni's ritualism. They think that all those little pieces that she's created, the guidelines, initiations, the master's picture, the weddings, the funerals, and whatever else other baloney she's propagated to dumb down these people with, and the governments of the world. They all think that equals something. It only equals becoming more stupid and growing old and more unaware. That's all it equals. Oh, and it's going to look good for a while. Yeah, your 9-to-5 job is going to look good for a while. It's going to come a time when you're not going to know where you're at. So again, throw all this stuff out and focus on what's real and makes sense, or don't. It's just one or the other. You stand real with the boys, or you don't. There's no on the fence stuff. And so those people that are, the idea here is to share the new you. And if you don't have the courage to do that, well, then don't. You've made your choice. You think life will recognize you? Again, you have to earn your way. Life knows. And you decide to stand real with it or not. And this is what life is now. This is the isness now, is the new you. This is really a huge gift that has come about. And if I didn't do this, who would have done it? Nobody. Because they're too afraid. And they don't have the awareness. You're lucky Pivot off of that. Not all this other nonsense that's been created that equals nothing but demise. It's all diseased. All this traditional stuff is a disease. What do we got now? We got Christmas coming. Okay, so we got plastic trees, a bunch of funny lights, more celebration, more alcohol, more people dying in traffic accidents. Sounds really good. More cancers, more whatever, more stupidness. For what? For nothing. But have fun. And it's okay. I'm not against any of this. People have the right to do whatever they want. Is that what you want to do? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and do it. I suggest to see the movie with Tim Allen, Christmas with the Cranks. It's very good. Demonstration of, they had their chance to do something different, but at the last minute they went back to their old emotional attachments, and they felt so warm and fuzzy about it. And it does look really cute, yeah, but it all equals nothing. Everybody just grows old and stupid as they're polluting the air with their little Christmas lights and whatever, burning up the energy and, just polluting everything and all the garbage stuff they buy for these little meetings. Fine, have these things, but the end result is you'll have nothing. I know it sounds like I'm the doomsday guy, but really, when you clear out all the aberrations, just like the experience that was shared here, it becomes the real side. It is here and now, but you have to see it. You have to see it within yourself, with yourself. And it's not out there. I look at the world. They're building Pacific City across the street here, and the hotels in it. All these things are gigantic Wi-Fi palaces. It's an abomination, and they're building the new Hilton next to it. What a mess! They're just adding to the destruction of the world, and they don't see it. But I'm not going to protest it. This is what they do here. Because it's not about me and what they're doing. It's about what is. It's about the isness life is. There is no me. There's the isness life is. So I know this is long drawn out, but I really can't say enough about it, simply because there's just too much emotional attachment to demise. And I can go over every area in this on this planet, and it's all attachment to demise, everywhere you look. So you can't figure that out, but you can learn to figure yourself out. And if the next person wants it or not, look at the boys. They've been around for untold centuries. And they're always in the nowness life is. They stand in real patience, real tolerance of this world. And they're always very real and trying to get others to see that also, to have that advantage. because this is what life is. It's about becoming more aware. It's not about spiritual unfoldment. Like I said, it's all nonsense. There's no such thing. Just like tradition, like the old Buddhas and the yogas and all this stuff, and it's all death is what it is. The cross, it's a graveyard marker. It's all death. Everything is. I don't care how pretty it's painted. It's all dead. But if that's what you want, go for it. But not me. I'll take the risk. I'll always be indifferent. Because again, there's the sun shining, and it's a great representative. So I'll walk the streets. I don't care. But I don't want to walk the streets because I want to do this. I want to risk my life presenting this to the world until I'm destroyed. That's what I want to do. And so each person makes their choice. This is how it is.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.